Today's podcast is called Workforce Wins, Bridging Business and Talent in the RGV. Today's special guest has helped shape workforce development across the state of Texas. From McAllen to San Antonio to the Golden Triangle, John Hershey is currently the Business Relations and Information Manager at Workforce Solutions. Thank you for joining us, John.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Really excited to have you here today to talk about everything that you guys do here in our region. As part of economic development, you guys are an important, vital role for what we do here. And so I want to start talking about the journey into workforce development. And I want to talk about, you've been in this space for over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
And, what sparked your interest to get into this field and kind of invest your life into it?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me today. I think for me, it was, I really feel a passion about helping people be able to grow and advance and make sure that they have access to all the resources that you need to move forward in your career. So for me, whenever I'm able to help somebody get a job or I'm able to help a city get a new business located there, that's what drives me to just really help the community grow around me and help people have access to things that they need to succeed. Yeah.
What was your first entrance in it? Has it always been with Workforce Solutions, or did you kind of get into the field through a different pathway?
Yeah, so really basically one of my mentor, an old colleague of mine, her name's Nancy Reed, I owe a lot of my career path to her. So we met each other while I was working at Weyerhaeuser Paper Company in McAllen, Texas. So it was a manufacturing job. So they needed help with safety, and nobody wanted to step up and be a safety coordinator. So I volunteered my time and helped develop our safety program at the plant. And so she was in HR, so we started working a lot together, developing a safety and environmental program for the company. And because of her constant mentoring and just the relationship that we developed, she ended up leaving the plant to go work for Workforce Solutions. And so I was like, hey, do you have anything for me over there, So basically that's how I got into it. But when she told me what they did and the purpose that Workforce serves in helping the community, helping businesses be successful, and then helping those that maybe have barriers to employment get over those barriers to be able to find good careers and training. I said, sign me up. When do I start? So she's the one that brought me in. So I had to thank her for that. And then Bonnie Gonzalez was also a mentor of mine. She was the CEO at the time. And this was back in 2007. And so I just fell in love with workforce development from day one and started off as a business services representative. So my area was Weslaco, Elsa, all the way to Raymondville.
Oh, wow.
So I worked with all the rural communities, helping businesses find employees they need. So I was putting in job postings, calling up people that matched those job postings. Hey, I got this opening. Are you interested? Do you want to apply? I can help you apply. And so that's how I got into workforce development.
Very cool. So you worked in major metros and now back here in the Valley. How do you adapt the approach into a rural community like Elsa?
So, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to help that business find the best talented person that is available. And whether you're in a large city or in a small city, the company's needs are very similar. So there's not a lot of adaptation other than knowing that maybe the pool of qualified candidates may not be as strong in a rural community. And so whenever that happens, you may have to come up with some innovative ways of finding that talent that company in that rural town needs, and work with them to make sure that they are able to have access to individuals that may be living outside of that community. So there's just different steps that you have to take to ensure that you can get enough candidates in front of that employer in that rural community to make sure that they've got the opportunity to interview the best available candidate. So there's just small adjustments, but at the end of the day, the needs of employers and businesses are really not a lot different when it comes to having a skilled workforce, whether you're in a large city or a small rural area.
I I think that I kind of look at Elsa and I start kind of analyzing, what we have here, and we're very rural and a little bit siloed from the rest of the valley.
Yeah.
But I think we've kind of shifted into this new RGV where people are willing to travel.
Yeah.
I think, maybe 15 years ago,
Yeah.
you didn't want to travel from McAllen to Westaco.
Right.
And even though it's pretty close. And now you see the shift where people are driving a lot more. I think that commuting is not so unheard of. I think part of Elsa is we don't have a lot of employers, right? We have
Right.
local mom and pop shops, and then we have city government and the school districts. So one of my goals is how can I get the talented workforce in Elsa to get jobs outside of Elsa?
Right.
Because I think at the end of the day, people still want to live at home, right?
Absolutely.
They could live here and work in McAllen. They could live here and work in Harlingen. They could live here and work in Brownsville. Could get a job at SpaceX and maybe travel over there and back every single day. But they still love Elsa, want to live here.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that we can focus on here so that we can get the talented people here employed outside of this area?
So, and I like that you're bringing this up because I've also thought about that. People live where they live because there's something that they really love about that, whether it's the cost of living or their family's there or multi-generations or family are there and they just don't want to leave. But like you said, maybe the job that they're looking for, the career they're looking for is not located nearby. So people are becoming more mobile. But I think the focus is just collaboration between community leaders, workforce development, and economic development, making sure that we're sharing those opportunities in one way. And I'm excited that we're going to collaborate on a job fair with Elsa EDC soon. But job fairs really allow from all communities to attend one location, so they're not driving from business to business trying to apply at different places. They get to talk to the leaders, the hiring managers, the HR managers of different agencies that are hiring, different businesses that are hiring at job fairs. So that's one tool that we use a lot to allow people from rural communities to attend job fairs. We host them in different cities nearby, but businesses from all over attend those, every one of them, because they want to hire the best available candidate, and they really don't care where that person lives. They just want to get the best candidate to fill that position that they have. Some other things that in a rural community to just make sure that you have access is knowing where to look. So that's something that we do at our office. We've got employees that work for us that's their job is to match you to a job that you're looking for. And sometimes people do want to work nearby. Maybe they'll work for a lower wage just because it is in my community still. But we'll help them with developing their resume. We'll show them how to navigate workintexas.com, how to use Career Builder, how to use LinkedIn to search for the jobs that they're looking for and get the right matches. So our staff will actually help them. And if they say, you know what, I want to only work in Elsa or Westaco, okay, now we can even narrow the search to only jobs that they match to in that area. So we've got different tools and ways that we can help somebody find that right job.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to break it down. I think a lot of people have heard about Workforce Solutions, but what do you guys do? What is the umbrella of everything that you kind of touch?
Yeah, so I think workforce development is economic development. Economic development is workforce development. Education's the fuel that makes that successful, right? So we're a piece of the pie, right? Of all the available resources to somebody, we're one piece of that. Economic development does a certain function. We do workforce development. So we really, our customers are businesses and then the community. So anyone that's looking for work, maybe they got laid off through no fault of their own. Maybe they're in a job, but they'd like to upgrade or find something that pays a little bit better or advance their career in a career pathway. So we do multiple things. We provide training, job search. We help people prepare of how to do interviews, things like that. So let me start with what we do for businesses, employers. Employers, we can help them find qualified candidates by putting their job postings, and all of our services are at no cost. So we never charge for our services. But we'll help, we have business services representatives that that connect with employers and businesses, find out who's hiring, find out what positions you're hiring for. We enter that information into a website that the state utilizes through the Texas Workforce Commission. That's called workintexas.com. Workintexas.com is our job board. So it's kind of like an Indeed or a career builder website. But what ours does is it takes your work background, your work history, your education history. You can even put parameters in there about, we just talked about distance. If I only want to work within 20 miles of my house, we can enter that into Work in Texas. And then it allows the employer to then start seeing anyone that matches to that job, and allows them the opportunity to contact that person or individual. Also allows that individual to apply through the system or go to their website if that's how the company prefers applicants to come to them. But what we do is we continue to recruit. So we're kind of like an employment agency for the employer. We've got individuals that will call up people that are qualified, tell them about the opening, how to apply, help them set up interviews. We also can do assessments for employers. So if an employer says, I need somebody that has, a high school diploma and can type 40 words per minute. Well, we'll actually do an assessment at our center of all those job seekers that are interested in applying and want to apply. We'll have them take that typing test, and we'll tell the employer, okay, here's the scores. All of these have this result. Do you want us to move forward in scheduling interviews? So we get to that level of service for the employer to help make sure that they're finding the right candidate and they're not wasting their time seeing individuals that maybe aren't meeting their minimum standards. And if we're having a hard time, there's maybe just not candidates that are coming up, we'll then work with them. What do we need to adjust? Who will you accept? I mean, at the end of the day, we want to ensure that the employer gets that person that they're looking for to fill that need that they have. And we want them to be able to retain that person. So if a business, and one of the things that I think that small businesses, and this may apply to a lot of businesses here in Elsa that may be mom and pop type businesses, we can help enter job postings for them. They don't have to navigate that system themselves, but we can also show them how to utilize the system so they can do things on their own, how to find pools of qualified individuals. But if they have a workforce, one or two people that maybe just need some help on upgrading their skills, that's the other service we provide a business. We can help train their workforce. So we'll work with community colleges, South Texas College, UTRGV, TSTC, and we can provide that company with training other employees to upskill them maybe into a new position, or utilize the skills for small business grant. That's one thing that they don't take advantage of enough. I don't think that's an underutilized tool, but they can literally take the catalog from TSTC or STC of classes that they already offer. Let's just say it's Excel, and they feel like, hey, we use a lot of Excel, but my administrative assistant needs a little bit more training in that. We can pay up to $900 per employee of theirs to get them that training that they need on their own time. So we'll work with them on time and scheduling that. That's a great tool or a great benefit for the businesses to upskill their own employees. So between training, upskilling and things like that, grants, we also do partner with economic development corporations where there's grants that we can provide matching funds where the EDC will invest some funds and we invest some funds from the Texas Workforce Commission through a grant that will train a pool of people to help a local business get a pool of talent that has just completed training and has the skills they need. So there's different ways we can customize training, use those dollars to invest back into the community to make sure that businesses have the available workforce that they need.
That's awesome. And I could see where that's a huge benefit, because instead of having to find someone new who doesn't understand what the company does or what they're doing, you can upskill that one employee who already has experience there.
Yeah.
And now they're doing an even better job.
Yeah, and it makes them more efficient and effective. And also, whenever a company does that, it's like an investment into your workforce, right? And that makes your employees feel like they're cared about, that they are actually investing in my training. They're investing in me to be able to do this job or learn a new skill. And so that helps with retention. That makes the employees feel like, hey, they really care about me. They're looking after my future. And so it really does not only help that individual gain skills, but it allows that business to develop that relationship with their employees that will make them like really want to be there and help that company succeed. So it really goes a long way.
I heard this saying a long time ago, and kind of reminds me of what we're talking about. I was talking to some business owners, and they were nervous about training their staff. And the thing that they said was, well, what happens if I train them and invest in them and they leave?
Yeah.
And the response was, well, what happens if you don't and they stay?
Right.
And when you think about it that way, it's kind of, that's even more scary to have an untrained staff who's not getting upskilled
Right.
and they stay with you forever. You
Right.
always have that ceiling above you. Is that something you ever run across where employers are kind of nervous about doing anything?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, I hear that all the time from businesses, and you're right. You know, if you never train your employees to do their jobs effectively and efficiently, then it's costing you one way or the other as a business, and you're not being able to excel as a business. But I look at it as there's plenty of opportunity out there and it's okay sometimes to have a business and know that you've invested in your employees and maybe they grow. Maybe you don't have all the different departments or career pathways for somebody to move up. And those invested in businesses that realize I'm not going to be able to keep this person forever, but while they're here, I need to get the most out of them that I can and allow them the opportunity to grow. But what that does is that people learn about that business and know what they're about, and so that makes others want to work there. So it's okay if you've got this system where maybe they work there for a certain amount of time and move on, knowing that you're going to have people that want to work there and be there because you do invest in your employees, and that they know that they're going to learn something. They're going to learn about a certain product or a certain method or technology that you utilize, and it's just going to make your business that much more desirable for others to want to be there. So I don't think not investing is the option you should go. You should always invest in your employees, and see them grow. And the ones that sometimes people will stay there just because, you know, maybe they do get better opportunities, but because they've got that relationship. Because it's not always about wages. It's really not. That's one thing I've learned. People don't stay with the company just because you're paying them a good wage. They stay with the company because they like what they do. They like their manager. They like their owner, whoever that person is that guides them each day. And whenever you develop those relationships and you have a good working environment and culture, people will stay no matter what.
I think it comes down to it's about people.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
really easy to look at metrics and numbers and unemployment rates
Yeah.
and how many jobs do we need to fill. But at the end of the day, it comes down to people and those relationships and the employers with their employees. And if people feel cared about and invested in,
They're going
invest
to be
back into
successful.
those companies.
That's right. And it's going to make that business all the stronger and more desirable to everyone that, you know, is interested in that field to want to work with that company. So it really, investing in your employees really does go a long way. And then some of the things that we do for job seekers, just for the public. So if you're anyone that is doing some kind of a job search or looking for a job, maybe you have a job, but maybe it's your first job. And you're thinking, well, I don't want to make $10 an hour forever. I want to be able to travel and do more things or buy a house one day. So we have programs and we have staff that can help anyone that's either looking to upskill or upgrade their job. We have workshops, so soft skills workshops. We teach people about how to work in teams, critical thinking skills. We'll sit down with them and we'll do mock interviews. We'll help them build a resume. A lot of times people don't sell themselves, right? They don't realize, like, they'll just think, well, if I've worked in retail and I was a cashier, that's the only thing I can list on my resume. But our staff will sit down and say, well, do you have any hobbies? Well, yeah, on weekends I volunteer at the food bank. Okay, well, that's something that you want to add to the resume. Or I go and I read books to elderly folks and volunteer that way. Well, those are all things like that people don't really realize all the talent and skills that they have until you sit down and actually just start talking to somebody about it, and then, oh, I didn't think of that. And so all those things that all those different skill sets that they've learned, whether it was either at an actual job or volunteering or a hobby they have, will help put those into a way that you can make yourself more marketable to a business. And so we've got all those services are at no cost. We've got computers, we've got access to jobs. We've got calendars of upcoming job fairs and hiring events. And so anyone that needs any assistance at all can utilize our services at no cost. If you're maybe receiving benefits, maybe you're receiving public benefits because you're in a tight spot right now. We have programs that maybe we can help you not only with paying for transportation through maybe helping with gas, or maybe you found a job, but that job requires you to have steel-toed boots or tools to do the job. We can actually help pay for those things if you come to us and let us sit down and talk to you. Or maybe you're in a job right now that is not your most desired job, or you want to start a career. Maybe you want to start a career in healthcare. We can actually sometimes pay for individuals to go back to school, get trained, get a certification or even a degree. So we can pay for sometimes up to 2 years of their school. So you could go to STC, for example, and end up with an associate's degree after those 2 years, and we'll even help place you after you finish your training. So we've got a lot of variety of different services that we can help any individual at any stage of their career, assist them of either getting back into the workforce or getting trained to change careers or get into a different career.
I think it was scenarios, kind of just being in economic development and being out in the community and talking to different people. Um, you know, one of the scenarios I think about is you hear people voice a hurdle of, let's pretend that this person is 30 years old and they're working the $10 an hour job, but that puts food on the table, and they have to work 40 hours a week, and they don't have access to maybe drive over to Workforce Solutions, or they don't have time to go to school, right? They can't just quit their job and go to school. They may have kids at home that they need to feed and things like that. What are you mentioned a lot of those things. Do those apply to these people in these scenarios? And
Yeah.
how do they overcome that hurdle? Because I think sometimes that hurdle might just be their mental block saying that.
Yeah.
And there are solutions for that. What are the solutions to overcome those things?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up. That occurs more often than I would think it would, but we can help. Even childcare, we could pay for childcare, because that's usually the biggest barrier for parents is, I want to go back to school, but I have to take care of my kids. I want to get a job, but I have to take care of my kids. So we've got a program to help assist pay for that childcare, so they're getting quality care. And it's not just somebody watching your children, they actually teach them. We've got a curriculum that we help the childcare providers provide to those kids, so they're getting educated while they're at the daycare, while you're out at working or at school. But you can pick up the phone and call us if you feel like I can't make it in because there's too much, I'm working all day or I don't have a chance. But we'll make arrangements to set an appointment to talk to you. There's opportunities to go to school at night, we know what those are. We can work with agencies to find a way to get them that training they need to get back into. So we try to eliminate all those barriers that they say they have, because you're right. You got to put food on the table, and there's ways of putting food on the table and getting educated. There's apprenticeship programs that we can introduce them to. There's companies out there that want to see them succeed and be successful. And there's it just depends on you, what your desire is, what kind of career you want to get into. But there's always options for you. So don't ever feel like, I'm just stuck in a rut. Sometimes we come across individuals that maybe they have a difficulty speaking English. So, maybe Spanish is their first language. So they feel like, well, I don't really have a chance to go to school. Well, we have ESL classes that we can introduce them to, that they could take online hybrid through our partners at Region 1 or South Texas College, to be able to go back to even help them get their GED. So there's a lot of different ways, and we'll customize our services to meet whatever their need is, because not everybody, it's not a just, one size fits all. It's, you got to customize how you deliver your care for that individual to make sure that they have access to all these resources. But we adjust with that individual.
Very cool. And if, like, people in the Delta area, what do you think the easiest access to to see you guys is? Do you have, or are your offices located across the valley?
So we have an office. So the easiest way to find all of our offices and phone numbers, like I said, you can call us and we'll even assist over the phone, is so W as in William, F as in Frank, and then the word solution. So wfsolutions.org. And on there, you'll see our location. So we have a location, we have a center in Weslaco, fully. It's a full center, has all the resources and staff to help, and that's where we also have workshops there. So Weslaco is one center, and then the other center that's close by is Edinburgh. So we have Edinburgh, Weslaco. There's also a center in McAllen, South McAllen. There's one in Mission. So in this area, it's I think 5 centers total in Hidalgo County. We have a center in Raymondville, so that serves that rural county, and then a center in Rio Grande City as well. But we do have virtual services, and we can help over the phone as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I want to kind of shift gears a little bit into, like, workforce and economic development, and the impacts that we have. How important is it for cities, especially smaller ones like Elsa, to see workforce development as economic development?
I think it's very important. And so whenever you have a business, even as a small startup business, if you don't have the workforce with the skill set that you need, your business is not going to succeed. You're going to probably be shutting your doors in a year or two. So it's critical that you have the right workforce available to you. So if you're in Elsa or any of our rural communities, you got to look at the talent that's there, and how do we work with the high schools, with the middle schools, to make sure we're preparing them for jobs that are available locally. But not only that, whenever you, like we were talking about earlier, investing in your own employees, we have resources to help you train up your staff. So once you make that hire, if maybe they're not, everything that you need yet, we can get them there, and we can help you get them there. But it's critical in a small rural area that you have good quality talent, to be able to keep your, because usually, in the global economy, even if you're a small business, you may be dealing with customers that are out of the area, maybe even out of the country, right? So sometimes you have to have different skill sets. Maybe you need them to be bilingual and know certain technology. So those are things that are critical for your business to succeed. So you got to invest in the local talent first, because it's hard to bring in talent to a rural community from outside, right? And so if you're not growing your own, and you're not investing in your own community and the individuals that are here, you're not going to grow economically. Your city's not going to grow, and that's critical because that's what provides the resources for the local community. Do you have enough stores? Do you have things to do? Do you have good quality roads? Transportation, logistics, it's all economic development, right? And so without the talent and the workforce with the right skill sets, it's you're not going to be successful.
Yeah. I think kind of one of the little sayings is like economic gardening, right?
Yeah,
You plant seeds and you water the existing plants you already have.
I like that.
You've worked closely with a lot of EDOs, chambers, small businesses. What does a successful collaboration look like between those organizations and yourself? Like, how could Elsa EDC and Workforce Solutions work better together to be more successful in what we're doing?
So collaboration, those words that we throw around a lot, but what is collaboration? To me, collaboration is sharing information. So we like to share the latest labor market information with our EDCs, and we like the EDCs to share information with us. If there's business recruitment efforts, we can provide information on the availability of a workforce, of a group of people. Working also hand in hand with economic development in schools and colleges and universities, because that's the education component, right? Even if we don't have enough of the skilled workforce here to attract a new company or business, as long as we're all communicating, working together with a unified focus, we can find the investments and the funding to train the workforce to meet whatever that demand is, right? So I think a lot of the collaboration that works for workforce development, economic development is good planning, constant communication, willing to say yes, we can partner with you on this, and collaborating on events, getting information out to the community, letting people know what's available to them is key. So the working with, like, I think a good opportunity that we're going to collaborate with you and with Elsa is the job fair that we're planning, the community development center that is going to come about soon. That's also like you and I were visiting earlier. How can we provide educational services from that location? So we want to invest in that. So there's a whole variety of ways that we could collaborate, but just keeping that contact and communication, I think, is key.
If Elsa could implement one bold workforce initiative this next year, what would it be? What would you recommend?
I mean, I think the thing that comes to my mind first is investing in the community. So some kind of an opportunity to receive training that will get them into a high wage career, whether it's a grant that we collaborate with the EDC on and provide to prepare somebody for a new technology. So you mentioned earlier AI. I think, and it's kind of bold, but I think technology is always going to be around, and I think the rural communities maybe are a little bit behind. So I would suggest investing in some kind of an IT related training that can get somebody certified, because you can utilize that anywhere. It's portable. They could utilize it locally. They could utilize it somewhere else, but those are also high paying jobs. So I think it's some type of a program that would allow folks that are in Elsa that are interested in that an opportunity to get trained. And it could be a different things, but that's something that we would probably want to discuss and figure out what works best for this community. But I feel like investing in your community is the best workforce development thing that you can do as far as their education and getting them prepared for jobs that are here now and in the future. Yeah.
I think this is just a theory of mine, but I feel like a lot of different organizations are doing really good at what they do. And so a lot of times when people talk about like trade school kinds of things, they immediately go to, oh, well, the high school has CT programs.
Right.
And I think that's, the high schools are doing a great job at doing those and implementing those programs. But sometimes, as kids are in eighth grade right now, are going into high school, they don't know what they want to do.
Right.
14 years old. And so
They haven't
they're
made
having
that.
to make choices right now about, something that they have no idea about. And so some kids kind of miss the boat on that. They don't jump into those CTE classes, or maybe they go a different pathway, or they
Right.
may want to be a doctor when they grow up and they don't go down that CTE path, and then they decide they don't want to be a doctor.
Right.
They want to go into a trade
Yeah.
school.
Kids change their mind.
And so
Yeah.
so now you have these people graduating, 18-year-olds, and they may not jump directly into the university system and not jump directly into anything like that. And so now they float around for a little while, and now they become 23, 24, 25-year-olds still trying to figure out what they're going to do. And so
Right.
how can communities kind of fill that need for the people who are like 18 to say 30 that didn't get upskilled right away?
Yeah.
How can we promote to them that there is opportunity out there? It's not too late. They're not too old.
Oh yeah, it's never too late for finding out what you like or desire your career. But I like that you're asking that. There's a number of things we can do. We can collaborate on, invest on bringing in some grant funding to provide some unique, customized course. We can look at kind of what's in need locally, but also because the whole entire Rio Grande Valley is changing all the time and expanding. So we can, for example, and I think you were part of this a few years ago in Mission. We did, like, with your help and Daniel Silva's help and Alex Mead, we did Code the Town for the younger generation, but for the older generation, those ones that you're talking about, maybe 17, 18, they graduated, 19, they're still at home, they don't quite know what they want to do. Maybe they got a part-time job, maybe they don't. We partnered with CompTIA, and we were offering CompTIA IT related certifications. So once they finished that, they would come out with their cybersecurity plus certificate, things like that. And a few individuals actually got job offers at big IT companies after they got those credentials. So it could be a program like that we invest in and figure out a way that we can fund it so that way they've got that opportunity. Sometimes you probably need to have some parameters so they got skin in the game so you know that they'll actually commit to the program. But I think short-term training is the way to go in that scenario because it gives them an opportunity to go through some kind of a boot camp or rapid training that will get them some kind of a industry recognized certificate or credential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this other theory. It's
Okay.
just random things that kind of pop up in my head.
Okay.
We've shifted into like what they're calling a gig economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so not everyone is going down the path of working full time for someone. They may work a bunch of different gigs. With things like the rise of kind of like the global marketplace, like Upwork and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
you can sell your skills to a much bigger audience.
That's right.
And so I've always felt that people in the Valley, for the most part, are bilingual, and not everyone's bilingual. And so that's one powerful skill set. And so, is there anything that we can do where, say we would train people in Elsa to develop these computer skills, or we say Excel all the time as the low hanging fruit, but
Yeah.
any kinds of skills where maybe customer service or technology skills, and you mix in the bilingual aspect of it, and now they can put themselves out to a bigger marketplace, so that maybe we don't get them hired locally, but they're bringing in outside money into the Valley because they're working for a company out of New York or California or Wisconsin.
Absolutely. I love that idea. Even if just off the top of my head, locally, that could work with that type of a program because there's call centers here in the valley that need bilingual representatives that pay decent wages and need that kind of a skill set, but they just need a little bit of training, like customer service training, some uh, computer related training, and then just kind of honing the skills that maybe they already have and refining them so that way it meets that employer's needs. But you're right, like there's online jobs available where it's work from home, or even in Austin with the IT boom, there's companies there that will utilize those skill sets if they develop them here locally, and especially being bilingual because you're going to reach a broader audience, right? In TikTok, there's you could be really innovative with some of these programs, but I think that's something that would pique the interest of youth here in Elsa, and it's something probably that hasn't been done yet. So I like that idea that you have. It's
We'll,
yeah.
we'll pioneer that.
Okay, all right. I like that.
So I'm gonna go to our last section, is our little lightning round, a little bit more personal and fun. What's the most inspiring workforce success story you've been a part of?
So I got to pause on that one for a minute because there's so many. So with my different roles, whether it's being the business services rep and helping a company find the workforce they need, or working with that individual to get them the right job and make them happy, I've got a lot of stories I could share. But I think also in my role as a manager and a director, I think seeing my employees, like letting them be creative and innovative and come up with ideas, because whenever you've done this for the amount of time I have, you kind of start getting stuck in this is the way it's been done, this is the way we have to do it, and you kind of lose that creative thinking, if you will. So I try to make sure that I allow our team and my team to have opportunities to provide new ideas and suggestions about doing things differently. And whenever I see those ideas come to fruition and work and have success stories to come out of that, that's what really makes me very happy, is knowing that I've allowed them to utilize their ideas and not held them back, but let's talk about it more. Let's see what we can do. Let's try something different. And so to me, that's been really inspiring. But I can recall, whenever we had a family that the dad and the mom had several children, and they were working any job they could find. So dad was mowing the lawn, mom was, doing housekeeping, things like that. And they came to us, and there was a training with Region One as a partner, to help them get their GED, and then they could go to STC for certification training. And the dad actually ended up becoming a welder. The mom actually, she started her, and she was from Mexico. She was actually a lawyer in Mexico, but here she had to go back to school so she wasn't able to do that career field here, but she ended up opening her own accounting. She became a CPA and opened her own accounting office and is very successful. So it's like we helped. It took 2 years, but we helped that family go from barely getting by to being able to sustain itself. So that's one of the ones I'll remember for a while, and that occurred about 10 years ago. But it happens all the time. There's so many people that we help, but
Well, it's generational change.
yeah,
Right?
it is. It is. But it's just very rewarding whenever you can help somebody. Whenever you know that they're in a tough situation, right? Whether it's helping them be able to pay for gas to get to the job for the next week, or getting them some clothes that they need to be able to apply for the job that they want. So there's just so many success stories and things that move me.
What's one skill every young person in the valley should be learning?
So I smile because um, I think communication, I think we've kind of lost that one-on-one ability to communicate with somebody. Um, and we've relied too much on our phones or asking Google for the answer. So I think something that you need to work on is being able to communicate, look at somebody in the eye, be able to tell them, what what moves them or what drives them. So good communication. But then my next one is con, how is it, contradicting myself a little bit, is technology. Because without being able to navigate utilizing computers, Microsoft, AI, social media, things like that probably will be left behind. And that's something that a skill set that you can take in any industry and excel at it. So if that makes sense, communication and knowledge of technology.
A tech savvy people person.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've kind of been looking to hire like an intern for media stuff, and one of the interesting things that my city manager and I just geek out on AI.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple phone conversations with the people, and when they tell me they don't use AI, it's distracting. They've kind of
Yeah.
I feel less confident.
Confident. Yeah. Why aren't you using?
conversations.
Yeah.
And some of the thought process is, oh well, we're doing everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Well, it's great, but
But that's
you could do things way
faster.
and more efficiently
Right.
with AI.
Yeah.
What's an industry in the RGB that more people should be paying attention to?
Oh, it's so for me, living in the Rio Grande Valley since 1991, 92, I've just seen it evolve so much from a lot of agriculture and farming was like just a huge industry here to now it's evolving. We've gone into retail, some manufacturing, but now, I mean, it just depends where you're at in the valley, but SpaceX is changing the landscape and the things that are going on in the Port of Brownsville. But for me, I think we've got an opportunity to really kind of shape. Like, I think we're in a unique area where we could become the destination, right? We where people want to come because we've got resources. We got the island, the beach. We've got beautiful. We even in Rio Grande City wineries in Elsa it's been growing with new businesses coming in. You've got a Shipley's donut. I mean, I would have never thought Elsa had a Shipley's donut whenever I lived here. So I I can't really put my finger on just one because I think having a good mix of different industries and different jobs available is good for us, but healthcare is something you can't ignore. So if you're looking at becoming a doctor, a radiologist, a nurse, you're going to find a good paying job here in the Valley if you go that route in your career pathway. And I think from UTRGV's expansion, there's going to be opportunities for new businesses to come up with medical devices and research that's going to be growing. So I think healthcare is the one that you should really keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the business owners, educators, and leaders listening, what would you tell them about the role they play in shaping the future of work here?
So for me, it's just helping your communities be able to have access to programs and education and trying to find a way to bring dollars in through state dollars or federal dollars to be able to train your future workforce. But to me, that's the thing is we all got to work together collaboratively to train your future workforce. And it never stops because people are at different points in their lives. And like we talked about earlier, sometimes, you may have an 18, 19-year-old that I don't really want to go to school. I'm not good at school, but I really don't know what type of career or job I want. And we've got to find a way to bring them back in and give them some kind of a skill set that they can be able to contribute back to the economy. So to me, it's investing in your talent and working together to find innovative ways to help the broad community because some may need more help than others. And the ones that need more help than others, how are we going to help them overcome their barriers to going back to school or getting training to get that job that's going to help them and their family. So it's just coming together collaboratively between all those entities and working together to make sure that we're doing everything we can, investing all the resources that we can to have opportunities available for our community and for our different cities. So, yeah.
In closing, I kind of want you to just wrap up a little bit, and you can like look at me or directly into this camera if you want, but kind of talk about how does someone as an employer or someone looking for a job get a hold of you guys? Where do they go? What are the steps? And then maybe also, you guys have that Facebook page, Operation
Yeah,
Get Hired?
Operation Get Hired. Yeah.
Maybe talk like a little bit about that too.
Yeah. So Julio, so we've got a social media marketing person. Julio is the one that works on getting the word out there, but he also operates our social media pages. So we got a Workforce Solutions Facebook page. We're on X, Instagram, and then we've got Operation Get Hired, which is also something that we utilize a lot to let everyone know about upcoming hiring events and job fairs. And so the difference between a hiring event and sometimes people say, what's the difference, right? A hiring event is an event that is for one specific employer. So let's just say HEB has 20 to 30 positions they're trying to fill. We'll have a hiring event either at our workforce center or at that employer's site. And through social media, we'll announce the dates, the times, maybe the prerequisites that somebody needs to have, anything that they need to bring with them. We'll put that online and post it through social media. And then a job fair is multiple employers coming together. So you could have 15, 20, 30 employers from different industries. Maybe we'll have banking or finance related jobs, manufacturing jobs. But I like those events because as a job seeker, whenever I go with my resume, come in dressed to impress, ready to go, looking good, right? Looking for that next job. I can talk to 4 or 5 different companies without driving all over town or miles and miles. I can talk to those representatives and get in front of them and have a conversation with them and find out if that's the type of company I want to work for. What do they pay? What are their benefits that they offer? So you can really get details that you probably wouldn't get by just looking at somebody's website or a company's website. So those are the types of events that we do. But if you're a business that needs our services, you can call our number 956-928-5000. You can also find us online at wfsolutions.org, and you can contact us through there and let us know that you're hiring and for what positions. And so we have business services reps that will contact them directly, find out what their needs are, help them get that job posting listed on our website, and then we'll start referring them and sometimes employers want to use just our website, workintexas.com, and get referrals that way, but sometimes they'll have us redirect them from Work in Texas. If they're trying to apply, redirect them to their own website, because a lot of companies have their jobs listed there, plus they may have an application that you also need to fill out in addition to submitting your resume. So they could contact us. We can help them get that set up. And if you're not working, maybe you just got laid off and you need help filing for unemployment, you can go to any of our workforce centers, or you can contact us over the phone, and we'll give you that number to contact the Texas Workforce Commission to apply for unemployment benefits, and then we'll right away start helping you find a new job. We'll update your resume for you. We'll start giving you referrals to different positions. But online or over the phone, or just going to one of our centers, we've got staff ready to help. So that's how you can get a hold of us and take advantage of our services. We've got availability to phones. If maybe you have a disability, you need help with assistive equipment, we've got staff that can help with that. We've also got equipment that can help you if you've got vision impairment, things like that. hearing impairment. So we got that technology available as well to help you be able to find a job or do job search. And we can also make sure that, like I said before, if you do want to change careers, we've got career advisors that can kind of have that conversation with you, let you know what jobs are in demand, what the average wages are, things like that. So we've got a variety of services. We've got copy machines. If you just need to go make copies of your resume, stop by and do it. And again, the best part is all of our services are at no cost. We'll never charge an employer. We'll never charge an individual to help them with finding good employment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.